G'day humans, Chris Stead here. Today I'm reviewing the Acepure Pro Vero air purifier. So this is the baby of the Acepure air purifier range for 2024. So you've got this, the Acepure Pro Vero. Then you've got the Acepure Cool 2-in-1, which I've already reviewed on the channel. So if you want to learn a bit more about that, just go check out the video. And then you've got the Acepure Pro, so not Pro Vero, just Acepure Pro, confusingly, which is the top of the range, significantly more the top of the range, like another $1,200 more than this, which is industrial sized, right? That's going to do like, 116 square meter rooms, I believe. This one's more of a 47.5 square meter room. Now the positive obviously is the price, so you're paying a lot less for something like this, but the con is you're going to be losing some of the features that you can see in some of the higher models in Acepure range. We're going to go over that in a sec. But this is just purely an air purifier. It doesn't not trying to do anything else, it's just an air purifier. Actually, to be more precise, it's an environmentally kinder air purifier. I'll go into that in a little more in a sec. But let's start with that price. So this actually retails for $369. It's a recommended retail price here in Australia. And that's kind of up there a little bit, It's mid-range in air purifiers, but as we go through the specs, that's kind of a bit pricey for the specs that it offers. That said, I'm not sure you're ever going to pay $369 for it. In fact, I had a bit of a look around, and this is you can actually find this for sub 200. And I think that is a more reasonable asking price for this. That puts it down around the Kogans and the Kmart air purifiers, and it's Acepure, so it's a step above those brands, but it puts it down close, kind of just, maybe about $50 more than those devices, and not too far off the Philips, which is kind of like-minded feature set as well. So that I think is a more adequate price for what's on offer here, as I'll go into in more detail, and for the specs that are offered. So let's talk about those specs. So as mentioned, there's a big focus here on carbon footprint. So it's made out of 35% post-consumer recycled material. You'll see that written as PCR if you're not sure of post-consumer recycled. It also operates on a low 38 watt power demand via a DC engine. Plus it's got a green mode, which is effectively an automatic mode that throttles the speed based on how the air quality is tested. And there's eco-friendly packaging as well. So it's really going quite hard on the environmental angle. In fact, if you go to the website and look it up, half the page is dedicated to that. So that's something to keep in mind. But despite this lack of power consumption, it can still purify, as I said, a 47.5 meters squared room. It has a 3-in-1 HEPA 11 filter, which can catch 99.9% of airborne particles. This includes a carbon cotton component that pulls out formaldehyde. Other things as well, but formaldehyde, it's kind of anti-formaldehyde is the big one there. It's got 6 different speed settings, kind of 4 different speed settings in a quiet mode, then that kind of green mode I was talking about, which is the kind of automatic mode. Then you've got, that quiet mode, by the way, sits at about 25 decibels, but it does go up to 56 decibels if you go to that turbo mode, which I'll let you listen to that in a sec. It weighs just 4.2 kilograms, but given the size of it, it actually feels a lot lighter than that when you're lifting it around. It's just 57.7 centimeters high and has a 25.3 centimeter diameter and comes with a 1-year warranty. Now, if we look a little bit closer at the design of the Acepure Pro Vero, look, I don't mind it. There's not a whole lot going on here, let's be honest. It's cylindrical, it's very blocky, there's not much going on with the curves or anything like that. If you see my Acepure Cool 2-in-1 review, you'll see there's a little bit more going on there with the way it uses angles and subtle touches and push button embeds and things like that. You haven't really got much of that going here with this bottom of the range model. But having said that, it's also not very in your face. It's quite sleek and small, doesn't take up much space. I actually don't mind the wide. I think it kind of like, depends on your house, but it kind of disappears into the corners of rooms without too much hassle. If you have a look on the top here, it's got this really kind of nice, I don't know what you call this, griddle effect, where it starts small and just expands out. I actually quite like that. Nice, clear, obvious screen. It doesn't do much. but you know, it's really obvious what's going on. It's got this color coding, which is about telling you, you know, what the room quality is like. So right now we're suck it in. We're breathing beautiful green air, which is good. You know, I don't mind the look of with the grill around here. It's a bit more. It's not actually, despite the fact it's recycled materials, it actually feels pretty solid. Like I said, it feels really light, a lot lighter than 4 kilos to lift, but it doesn't feel brittle, and the Cool 2-in-1 did feel a bit brittle. It doesn't feel as brittle. The backing here still comes off a bit easy. It's kind of a little bit loose, but not as loose again as the Cool 2-in-1. So it's a bit kind of more solid. It's gonna handle getting knocked over by a dog or, you know, bumped into by a kid a fair bit better, I think, than the last one. Although a bit worried about that fan on the inside. I'll go into that in a bit more in a second. But design-wise, look, it's not doing anything special. It's not like those kind of cool Dysons that look like really, you know, pretty gnarly. And it's not quite as nice as the Cool 2-in-1 with that fan on top that goes around and circulates the air. But it's not too bad. You'll see there's got a speckled blue kind of thing in the plastic. That's actually to denote the recycled material that's inside. I don't know if it's because of the recycled material, that's just an aesthetic that they've done so that you know that it's got all this recycled material in it. I don't like it. It's not a great look. It kind of looks like Pebblecrete at the bottom of a pool, something like that. So, or cheap stone. Like it's not an amazing addition, but unless you get up close, you can't even see it anyway. Look, let's be honest, the air purifier space is full of a lot of fugly options. So when you consider what it's competing against, that ain't too bad. Righto then, let's get into the performance. I guess that's what we're really here for. And this is where things get a little bit curious. Now, if you're just looking for an air purifier, which is all this is trying to be, is an air purifier to, you know, pretty efficiently clear out your room, a decent sized room too, like, you know, 47 square metre room. That's a good sized living room here in Australia. It does a pretty good job of that. Like, it does do what it's asked to do, and it does so with a low power cost. And you can kind of see it kind of just, if you put like incense or something like that around, you can see it kind of clear it out. But if you really want to maximise that kind of effect of clearing out a large room, you're going to have to pump the sound up, right? Because this is right now this is on the quietest possible setting. It's actually on the green setting. So that's because the room's actually quite good, it's just on the lowest fan setting. Now, as I bump this up, now note that I've got the speaker right here. So you can't hear this from where the camera is right now, which is my bed. So if this was on right now, you wouldn't be able to hear it at all over there. Once you start going up, that second, you can start to really hear it. That's just the second step up. And then we go third, and then we go up to turbo. Okay, and that's quite a lot of noise that you're trying to, you know, live your life over. So how often do you have to run it on that? Probably not that often, realistically. Probably maybe if something's just suddenly happened that you really need to deal with, or you just ended up with a lot of mold in a room that you want to clear out or something like that, then maybe you pump it up to turbo, walk away, just let it do its thing. Otherwise, you go in smart mode, which I've just put it into smart mode then, and she backs right off to a volume where you can't hear it at all. So it's just worth noting that this, I found this to be louder in just general, you know, across the settings, fan speed that is, not engine speed, fan speed, than the Cool 2-in-1 with its air which was circulating and purifying. So it had two fans going. I still found it a fair bit quieter than this. It's also, and I don't know if it's specific to this particular device or it's something to do with the model, but when you're over it, the fan kind of makes like a scraping sound, like almost like a metal grinding sound. It's very subtle and you can't hear it unless you're over it. Like I couldn't hear it when I was over there and I didn't even think it was on, and I came over and went, oh no, it's on. And once you get here, you can hear this guy like high pitched little grind. And I don't know if that's because it looks to me like the fan's kind of wobbling a little bit. So maybe it copped a knock somewhere in delivery. You can't hear it over the fan when you turn it up anyway, so it's probably not an issue. But I do wonder if that's kind of scraping and just putting a bit of a effect on what could be the long-term longevity of this device. But anyway, this is my experience. I'm telling you what my experience is. So that's what it is. I do appreciate that there is a quiet mode though. So you can just flick it onto quiet mode, which is done by holding in the button, and then that's just, it kind of basically sounds like this, but that's just a setting that you can use if you want to have it on in a kid's room overnight, something like that, for example. And I do appreciate that exists since I have kids. Right, now, on to some of the interesting aspects of the performance here. This is a HEPA 11 filter inside, a 3-in-1 HEPA 11 filter. Okay, and that's not the Primo. The Primo is HEPA 13. In fact, the Primo is 4-in-1 HEPA 13. So this is HEPA 11, and a lot of the competitors in the space with that, around that price point are stepping up to HEPA 13. They don't have the power to do 45 square meters generally. So you like for your Kmarts, for example, they'll be a HEPA 13 filter, but it will only do say 25 square meter room. So it's a bedroom device, not a living room device. And I don't know how loud they are either. But my point is that the HEPA 13 is that medical grade, whereas the HEPA 11 is your residential grade. So technically not a problem, right? You're still looking at 99% of all stuff getting sucked out of the air. What you're getting for that little extra bit, that little medical grade, is something that may not be an issue to you, but I tend to think if you've got to the point where you want to buy an air purifier, you probably want to step it up to the highest level of purification you can get, right? Especially if it's not going to be that much more of an investment. So I think it's really curious that they've gone with the HEPA 11 in here, especially because in the Cool 2-in-1, the step up from this, there's a HEPA 13 4-in-1 filter, which is compatible with this device. So you can go and buy that for, I think it's $129, and just stick it in here and get that extra level. So I don't know, that's a bit of a strange one for me. Also, this does not have app support, so the AcePure does have an app. It works with the Cool 2-in-1, it works with the Pro model, but it doesn't work with this. It's because there's no, I think it's because there's no Bluetooth or Wi-Fi through this, so it doesn't work with the app. There's also no remote. So everything's done via this screen, which is not like an LED touchscreen or anything. It's just like, you know, a non-analog touch button, which is the most annoying control system ever. So it's a bit of a surprise to me. I wouldn't have thought it would have cost that much money extra to add app support and add a remote option, or one or the other, which it's definitely not essential in any way, shape or form. The app's not the world's most amazing thing, but it does allow for remote use. It does allow for you to just be in bed and want to deal with this and not get up on a cold night and have to come over and press buttons and those types of things. And I'm just curious that part of the performance that we do see in the other AcePures isn't in the Pro Vero. So that's a bit of a strange one. So that is why I think it's a good thing overall that the price isn't hitting that $369 mark that they set when the AcePure Pro Vero launched. I think at that price, with the features that it's missing, it'd be a struggle to recommend. But at the $200 price point, you know, it's a bit easier to say, hey, if you're just looking for a pure air purifier that's going to do a large room efficiently, then you know this is going to do that for you. It's going to kill the bad bits of the planet while doing its best to try and save the good bits of the planet with its efficiency and the materials that it's used inside. So anyway, those are my thoughts on the AcePure Pro Vero. If you can get it for the cheap, it's worth a look. But if you can't find that kind of cheaper end of the price point, then you're probably, in my opinion, worth upgrading to the AcePure Cool 2-in-1, which I think is a far more superior air purifier than this, albeit for a bit more investment. Anyway, that's the end of my review. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to check out my other videos, including that review of the AcePure Cool 2-in-1. Until next time, I'll check you later. You!